The figure of Dhul Qarnayn in the Quran has sparked various interpretations among Muslims, leading to disagreements on his identity. Some scholars and interpretations identify him as Alexander the Great, citing historical parallels and conquests attributed to Dhul Qarnayn. Others reject this association, arguing that the Quranic narrative of Dhul Qarnayn doesn't align entirely with Alexander's known history, leading to alternative theories. Additionally, interpretations of Dhul Qarnayn vary due to linguistic and contextual nuances within the Quranic text. The term Dhul Qarnayn translates to the two-horned one, which could symbolize attributes like power, wisdom, or leadership, adding layers of complexity to the interpretations. This linguistic ambiguity contributes to differing views among Muslim scholars and communities. Furthermore, cultural and regional influences play a role in shaping interpretations of Dhul Qarnayn. Different Muslim communities may draw upon their own historical and cultural background to understand the figure, leading to diverse perspectives on his identity and significance within Islamic teachings. Despite these disagreements, the narrative of Dhul Qarnayn continues to be studied and debated within the Muslim world, reflecting the richness and diversity of Islamic scholarship. We need to pay attention to Dhul Qarnayn's nickname, the Two-Horned One, to understand the significance of the nickname and its connection to Cyrus the Great. It's essential to delve into earlier texts and relate them to the final revelation in the Holy Quran. Allah encourages critical thinking and urges us to explore the Quran for answers. The divine book is accessible to all, designed to be comprehensible. Therefore, unraveling the identity of Dhul Qarnayn requires examining other scriptures, looking at history, and avoiding blind faith. In the Old Testament, the Torah, the book of Daniel, chapter 8, there is a mention of a two-horned ram that will be invincible in its campaign. This is what Daniel chapter 8 verse number 3 to 4 says. I lifted up my eyes, and behold, a ram was standing by the river. He has two horns, and the horns are high, but one is higher than the other, and the higher one rose afterward. Verse 4, I saw this ram butting towards the west, and towards the north, and towards the south, and no beast could stand against it, and no one could save it from it. It did what it willed, and boasted. And verse 20 gives an interpretation of this vision of Prophet Daniel. The ram that you saw with the two horns are the kings of the Medes and Persians. The Old Testament mentions a two-horned ram, symbolizing the ruler of ancient Iranian kingdoms, Media and Persia. These two kingdoms were united by Cyrus the Great, expanding the Achaemenid dynasty. Cyrus, often referred to as the Two-Horned One, signifies his kingship over Media and Persia. This is further evidenced by the discovery of a statue of Cyrus discovered in Iran. It's a life-size statue depicting a man with a crown on his head that looks like two horns and wings, which fully corresponds to the idea of the Jews about King Kurush, Cyrus, known to them as the Two-Horned One. Dhul Qarnayn was the great and just conqueror who gave the West and the East true freedom from tyranny and oppression. According to Surah Al-Kahf, his journey included a journey to the west, then to the east, and then to the foot of two mountains where he met the oppressed people. Cyrus, king of Persia, began his victorious march from Media, and after becoming king of the two Persian states, the Two Horns, he continued his journey westwards, reaching the Mediterranean in 547 BC, and the Quran, chapter 18 verse number 86 says, when he arrived at the place where the sun set, he found it setting in a muddy spring. Quran chapter 18 verse 90, and when he arrived at the place where the sun rises, he found it rising over a people to whom we had not provided any cover from it. Therefore, the story of Dhul Qarnayn as a great conqueror coincides remarkably with the story of the military campaigns of Cyrus the Great. Dhul Qarnayn was known for his fear of God and righteousness. He was a just ruler, punishing oppressors and rewarding benefactors. He was a Zoroastrian. I know some Wahhabi brothers think all Zoroastrians are somehow fire worshippers. It's not true. Zoroastrianism was founded by Prophet Zarathustra. It espouses the worship of Ahura Mazda, the supreme deity who represents goodness, truth, and order. While Zoroastrianism evolved over time and incorporated elements of dualism with the concept of struggle between Ahura Mazda, the god, and Angramenu, the spirit of evil, it still retained a central focus on monotheism, with Ahura Mazda as the ultimate creator and source of all good. Cyrus took from these teachings, was a just ruler, and due to his monotheistic faith in Ahura Mazda, the one god, he also had mercy on the Jews. Cyrus, being so powerful, Allah granted him victory after victory, and he, Cyrus, allowed the Jews to return from the Babylonian captivity to their homeland and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, which had been destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. Cyrus did it with the command of Allah. In response, the prophet Isaiah called the Persian king an instrument of God's providence. Thus said the Lord unto Cyrus his anointed, I hold thee by the right hand, and I may subdue the nations under thee. I have called you by name. I have called you by name. I have honored you, though you did not know me. What's also fascinating is, because of Cyrus the Great, temple in Jerusalem was rebuilt, and the Jerusalem temple is also very important in Islamic monotheism. After the migration, known as Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers from Mecca to Medina, the direction of prayer changed to face Jerusalem for a brief period. The change in the direction of prayer occurred in the second year after the migration, around 624 CE, as a gesture of solidarity with the people of the book, the Jews and Christians in Medina, and to distinguish Islam from the pagans prevalent in Mecca during that time. What Prophet Isaiah said about Cyrus the Great as God's providence matches. The Jews are also the people of the book in Islam. Islam acknowledges Christians and Jews as the people of the book, who follow God's revelation. Therefore, only Allah could give power to Cyrus the Great to free the Jews from captivity, allow them back onto their land, and give them the power to rebuild the temple. However, having said that, the Jews during that time were still not grateful, as we see with the Zionists today in occupied Palestine. During the reign of King Cyrus the Great, the Jews urged the king to take brutal revenge on their oppressors and wipe them out from the face of the earth. But Cyrus the Great behaved differently. He was God-fearing. He forbade the plundering of the city, especially the temples, and he himself worshipped Ahura Mazda and supported people of all other religions. Thanks for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic. In ancient lands where empire rose, Cyrus the Great his valor shows against the horde of Gog and Magog's might. He stood undaunted in the battle's light. With sword in hand and courage deep, Cyrus led his troops, their souls to keep. Against the chaos, he held the line, a beacon of hope in darkness's shrine. Though legends tell us of his epic fray, in history's whispers, it fades away. Yet Cyrus lives on in tales untold, a king of kings, courageous and bold. In Persia's ancient land, a king arose, Cyrus the Great, his legend prose, with justice as his noble creed. He sowed compassion, not greed, a heart that bled for every soul. In victory's shadow, he kept control. His empire vast, yet his spirit free. He ruled with grace and dignity. Beneath the stars, his wisdom soared, a beacon of hope, forever adored. In his history's tapestry, his legacy gleams. Cyrus the Great in our dreams. Have a wonderful night.